What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's filthiest pitches of the day. I am Pitching Ninja, and you're stuck with me again today. No co host, but I don't need a co host. I'm awesome the way I am. All right, maybe not. I just made that up. I'm going to start out with Matt Waldron's knuckleballs yesterday because they were dancing. I know his line wasn't all that great. He only had 3 Ks in 4 1/3 innings, giving up 3 earned runs. But these knuckleballs were all over the place. Here's a home plate view of one that was uncatchable. And I just love watching Higashioka work back there. This was my favorite because he frames this knuckleball perfectly, even though he didn't catch it. Look at this thing. I put a tail on it. You can see it run off to the side. Absolutely elite framing. Maybe not elite catching of the ball, but whatever. That's overrated. I also love this where Alex Cora shows Matt Waldron the Tim Wakefield patch on his jersey and makes a heart gesture. That's because Matt Waldron learned his knuckleball from Tim Wakefield over Zoom. How cool's that? Now to the rest of the whip around the league. I'm not going to touch on every game. I'm just going to touch on the really well pitched games, or at least the ones that jumped out to me, just because I have to edit all this stuff now with Will and his new baby. So I'm going to make this a little bit shorter. I'm going to start out with Gerrit Cole, who had 6 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 1 run. And I thought he looked really sharp as opposed to his last outing. He had these fastballs, picked up a sword, and this curveball, cutter, and wicked slider. And after the game, it was clear that Cole really liked the way he pitched.
I thought it was a good blend of stuff and command, and pitched pretty smart for the most part. So it was a good day.
Taj Bradley was freaking outstanding yesterday with 11 strikeouts and 5 2/3 scoreless innings. He had these fastball splitters and cutters. He had 20 whiffs for the game, 10 on his fastball, 6 on his splitter, and 4 on his cutter. Opponents are only hitting 152 against his splitter and 192 against his cutter, and both of those pitches have over a 30% whiff rate. Here's an overlay of Bradley's fastball and splitter, and you can see how well these things work together. He had that fastball at the bottom of the zone and throws a splitter off of that to get the swing and miss. It looks like a heater coming in, but ends up in the dirt. And I want everybody to start putting some respect on Taj Bradley's name. He is a really good young pitcher. He's only going to be getting better. Freddy Peralta had 8 Ks in 7 innings, giving up 1 run. He had these fastballs, picked up a sword. He had these sliders, including this knee buckling slider. Look at that, as well as this changeup. Seth Lugo had 10 Ks in 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 4 hits. His ERA right now is a major league leading 2.17. He had these changeups, slurves, and I thought his curveballs were absolutely ridiculous yesterday. He had this one up to 3,503 RPMs, and that's not counting Rocchio's spin, which probably added more to it as he spins around after that swing. Opponents are only hitting 131 against Lugo's curveball with a 37% whiff rate, and he averages 3,325 RPMs on his curveball, almost 200 RPMs more than the next highest starter. Is Seth Lugo an all-star? He's got to be, right? He leads MLB in ERA and in wins, but he's still only 6th in the AL Cy Young race at plus 2,000, behind Skubal, Burns, Crochet, Gilbert, and Houck. Speaking of Garrett Crochet, Crochet had 11 Ks in 7 innings, giving up 2 runs, and he had no walks. Great command from a guy who just shoves. His ERA right now is 3.02, and he leads MLB in strikeouts with 141. Look at these angry fastballs and angry cutters. Dude is impossible to hit. Absolutely filthy stuff from Crochet, and I still think he's a little bit underrated because he plays for the White Sox. In a solid pitcher's duel, Hunter Green took on Lance Lynn. Green had 6 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 1 run. He had these sliders and picked up a sword as well as his heaters. He faced Lance Lynn, who had 6 Ks in 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 2 hits. Lynn had this fastball and cutter to take up his 999th K and 1000th K as a Cardinal. And of course, he had to give a celebratory crotch grab, or at least I'm assuming he did. Casey Mize only had 2 strikeouts, but pitched 5 1/3 scoreless innings, and I just thought it was notable that his fastball topped out at 98.3 miles an hour. Joe Ryan had 2 Ks in 5 1/3 scoreless innings, giving up only 1 earned run. He had these fastballs, sweepers, and splitters, but of course, one of these Ks kind of cheap. Luis Castillo had a hit here because Garver got injured, so they lost their DH. And Castillo proved that pitchers are athletes once and for all by taking all three pitches right down the dick. Brandon Fott had 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 1 run. He had these fastballs, curveballs, changeup, sweeper, and I thought he looked really good. Fott can be kind of up and down, but this was the upswing of Brandon Fott. He faced Luis Medina, who had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 1 run, and had these fastballs and sliders. And lastly, Andrew Heaney had 10 Ks in 7 innings, giving up 2 runs on 5 hits. He had these fastballs, changeups, sliders, and here's some home plate views of his pitches. You can kind of see how deceptive he can be because he's almost throwing the ball uphill. Now, on to my filthiest relievers. Jeff Hoffman had this slider. Gregory Soto had these sliders. Yohan Duran had this 97-mile-an-hour splinker. That thing is disgusting. And Ryan Thompson had this frisbee slider that got a swing and miss way out of the zone from Rooker. Now, I know some people were asking, why are you swinging at this pitch way out of the zone? Well, Thompson's sinker runs back to the plate pretty heavily. Here's one that ran back to the plate 16 inches, and I overlaid it with that slider. And you can kind of see what Rooker was swinging at. He thought it was a sinker, instead got a slider, and ended up looking like he didn't know how to hit. That's what happens when you have to guess. My top 5 filthiest pitches of the day yesterday. At number 5, I have Gerrit Cole's slider. At number 4, Taj Bradley and that splitter fastball overlay. At number 3, Garrett Crochet's angry cutters and fastballs. At number 2, Seth Lugo and his 3,503 RPM curveball. And at number 1, I'm going to go at Ryan Helsley and his curveball and slider. I mean, how do you hit this and also have to face his 102-mile-an-hour fastball? Good luck. He has a 50.3% whiff rate on his slider and a 55.6 whiff rate on his curveball. And it's all set up because you have to respect his 102-mile-an-hour fastball. Also, I love this meetup with Paul Skeens, Charlie Morton, and Chris Sale before the game. It's awesome to see Morton and Sale pay it forward to Paul Skeens, and Skeens showing respect to those two guys. After all, Morton was drafted a week before Paul Skeens was born. How about that? And now, my pitching ninja moment of zen. Aaron Shunk got called up by the Rockies yesterday, and I know Aaron since he was 9 years old. My son played rec ball with him. And to celebrate, his dad drew his debut sitting behind home plate. How cool is that? My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start out with a same game parlay of David Peterson for 4Ks or more and Mackenzie Gore for 6Ks or more. And then I'm going to top it off with Hunter Brown for 5Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?